Electricast.
Why wait to see if you'll get something you like this Valentine's Day when you can go to BlueNile.com and find something you'll love? Whether you're looking to treat yourself to a little winter sparkle or show a galentine how much you appreciate them, Blue Nile offers a wide selection of high-quality designs, expert guidance, and free 30-day returns for the ultimate peace of mind. You can even design your own jewelry. Right now, save up to 50% at BlueNile.com. That's BlueNile.com.
Welcome into MTP Boston. It's Mike Markangel, joined alongside by my guy, the real BK, Bob Kelly, an OG here at MTP, back to the old days of the Sunday Night Sports Wrap. We're talking Patriots shocking victory, Steelers shocking defeat, a little Celtics, and then I think we're going to end with some Shohei Ohtani thoughts. But before we go all the way into it, how we doing, Bobby? How are you feeling about what you saw on Sunday?
I'm good, man.
About
what I saw as a whole on Sunday, a little like preview of the power ranking show is the NFL. It's just a fucking shit show right now. Like I don't know what the fuck is going on in the NFL. But Thursday is just the epitome of what's happened in the NFL. Is like if you were to tell me if you were to describe what was Sunday like, I'd be like, well, the 2-10 Patriots beat the 7-6 Steelers, and that was their second straight loss to a 2-10 team. And that kind of summarizes what the entire NFL season has been so far.
Yeah. I mean, 100%. So let's get right into it. I mean, Thursday Night Football, we had the Patriots going into Pittsburgh. And, this game beforehand, Ray and I were talking last week. And, this is, Leah, I apologize in advance. This is the first time in my, I would say like lifetime that I was watching before the game. I was like, you know what? I don't need the Patriots to beat the Steelers, but I think they're going to, because they always do for whatever reason. Now, we have Mike Tomlin's 3-10 career against Bill Belichick and the Patriots, including the playoffs. We had Bailey Zappi, who came out slinging. I mean, in that first half, he looked like a formidable quarterback against what most people, I guess, would say is, a pretty good Steeler defense. And they got up to a really early lead. So you're watching the first half, Bobby. I think the score is 21-3. What the fuck are you thinking?
So like two things. It's very Steelers. So the first half isn't a difference from much of what we've seen so far from the Steelers so far this year. Like the first half, it's like famous on one of the podcasts I listened to that like betting the Steelers to lose the first half but win the game is one of the best value bets that you can make in the NFL right now, because it's just so it almost happens every week. However, you can't give up 21 goddamn points to an offense that hasn't scored a touchdown in 70 drives it was, right?
A long time.
A very long time. Very long time. The 21 points was the average of, or the total of what they had scored, like the previous 4 weeks?
Yeah, well, I think 3 to 4 weeks. I think what's most important is this is the first game since I think the Dolphins game, which was week 2, where the Patriots scored touchdowns on back-to-back drives.
Oh my God. That's so bad. Yeah. I got to give Zappy credit. Zappy, they look good. But I don't know, man. And you could feel it in the stadium too, because it was in Pittsburgh, where like the air was out of that goddamn stadium so fast. And, I think it did have a lot to do with what happened the week before, too, them losing to a 2-10. It was the Cardinals, I think, right? Yeah. The 2-10 Cardinals. And they just knew what was coming. But the Patriots did. I almost feel like Belichick is almost purposely taking at this point, because like that second half was just like the complete polar opposite.
Yeah, so I was going to say, like, do you think, before we get into the second half, though, why is it, or why do you think that the offense with a full week of preparing as the number one quarterback, why did it look so different with Bailey? Because the eye test, right? Bailey isn't that much better than Mac. Like he isn't. He doesn't have this. His throwing power is the same. His accuracy isn't as good, but the offense looks better when he's quarterback. Why?
Confidence. I'd say that's the number one reason I got. You know, Mac Jones, we know he's more talented than what we saw. We saw him play better football than this. So obviously there's more to it than that. And I just think with Zappy, man, I mean, you saw it. Bill O'Brien, I feel like, has like kind of connection with Zappy a little bit. You saw like that post game hug, and then just the coldest handshake I've ever seen. Oh my God, with Belichick. It's just such the point. I just think they have more confidence in him. I mean, I don't think Belichick gives a fuck. I really don't. I really don't think he cares. But I just think that's got to be it. Confidence, number one. You know what I mean? It's like, what other reason would there be? Because obviously he's not more talented than Mac Jones. Like, period. He's not. So,
Right. But you see, like in this game plan, they had to because Ramondre's up, but Zeke was the star of the show. 22 carries, 68 yards, with 7 catches for 72 yards and a touchdown. I mean, Juju Smith-Schuster again, yeah, that first catch for 37 yards, but he finished with 4 for 90. Like they looked like an actual offense, obviously in the first half. The second half, though, do you think that they were playing scared, or do you think that was the coaches not wanting to necessarily win the game?
it seems like they're tanking to me, man. I mean, yeah, I don't. But I mean, I mean, football, it's really hard to tank. So I guess they're not technically tanking. But yeah, I think they played not to lose the game. I don't think they definitely didn't keep the foot on the pedal. You know what I mean? It was a completely different offense in the second half than it was in the first. You didn't see throws down the field. You know, Juju Smith-Schuster, it's so weird to say the full name, Juju, wasn't running 20-yard outs in the second half at all. You know what I mean? Like that play that happened in the first half, the biggest play I've seen from the Patriots all goddamn year. Literally what wasn't being ran in the second half. It was just run, Zeke, dump out to Zeke. That's where most of those catches came from. So, yeah, I just think they definitely changed that whole offense completely. They let the Steelers right back in it, and they did have a couple of bad mistakes too. So
It's so weird to me that the majority of the offense in that first half, which is obviously the majority of the offense in the entire fucking game, came from Bailey throwing what we would consider like 50-50 balls that Mac won't throw. He won't do it. Now, Mac only throws 100% one way. Either he knows that the receiver's going to catch it, or he knows that the defender is going to get both hands on it, and it's going to be a pick, right? But in that second half, we saw that I think Bailey only attempted 7 passes in the second half. I just find it hard to believe, though, Bobby, that a team that in its first 12 games only won 2 of them is good enough to actually tank. Do you know what I mean?
that's fair. That's fair.
It feels tough. I think that this game was more about the Steelers, which I want to talk about, than the Patriots. As you said a couple of times, right? Back-to-back losses to then 2-10 teams. Do the Steelers make the playoffs? And like in your opinion, because they should not be on the power. It should be mentioned tomorrow or whenever the power ranking show comes out. So
They'll never be on that goddamn list. They'll never be on that list again after this. Yeah.
I want to mention them now. Like how bad of a above 500 team is this?
It's the worst offense I've ever seen with a winning record by far, and it's literally not that close. You know what I mean? It's literally the worst offense I've ever seen on a winning team. There's literally not even like it sounds like an exaggeration. It sounds like I'm being like, oh fuck no, bro. It's the worst offense. It's so bad. It had glimpses here and there, but like consistently, it's the worst football ever.
I don't really remember what the 2000 Ravens offense looked like because their defense was so elite. But do you think this is worse?
Yeah, Yeah, 100%. At least the Ravens had Jamal Lewis, and
But I mean,
they
it's
had
not about
some
the
kind of
players
threat.
though, right? It's not about the players because the Steelers have threats. They have Najee Harris,
Pickens.
bust. They have Pickens. They have Deontay Johnson. They have Pickett, who should have been a good quarterback, and turns out that he isn't. But Mitch Trubisky might
Really
be
bad. He's really bad.
be the worst top 10 quarterback in the last 30 years.
It's the Mitch Renaissance, as named in our fantasy football league, is the Dark Ages. There's no Renaissance.
I lost
bad.
to the dark ages this week, so thanks for bringing that up. I really appreciate that. But because you are like you're not a Patriots honk like I am, or an avid Patriots fan like I am, I want to ask you this question. So the Patriots are now 3-10. It kind of looked like the team still has some buy-in. Does this change your opinion on whether Bill Belichick is back next season? And I'm going to add a second part to that question. Do you think that Kraft will let him go, or is he going to hold out and try and get compensation for him?
If Bill wants to leave, I think he's leaving. Is he technically under he's still under contract, right? So he would have
for next year.
I think he'd get compensation for him. You have to. He's the greatest coach ever, man. You
Yeah,
can't
but
let
do
him
you
walk
think that
for
Bill?
nothing.
Let's say he doesn't want to leave, and Bob Kraft wants him out. Now you can fire him and pay him the $25 million next year to go coach somewhere else, or you can try and trade him for a compensation, like for a pick. But do you think Bill would want to do that to a team that he's going to give up assets to get him? Do you know what I mean? Like that's the situation that we're in now in New England.
That's crazy.
All the liability is on Kraft. If he wants Bill Belichick, he either has to pay him $25 million next year to go coach somewhere else, or hope Bill allows what do you think, a third, a fourth round? He's no longer worth the first.
Do you really think he really wants to? So the word on the street is that he wants him out. Is that's what's happening? Bill's on the way out.
Well, I don't know if you caught any of the Army-Navy game or like the build-up to it, but on College Game Day, he was on there, and McAfee, I don't know if he knew that there was a live microphone near him. He went up to Kraft and said, I have so much respect for you. I don't envy the position that you're in right now, and we all know what you have to do. What does he mean?
I mean, obviously McAfee's trying to get the soundbite, but
again, so you're the Patriots organization. It's now been 2 years. So last year, Bill decided that, what, offense doesn't fuck quarterbacks. They don't mean anything either. All we need is an elite defense. They go 8-9 last year with Matt Patricia and Joe Judge. And then we once talked about, if you want to learn how to kill a franchise in 2 years or less, like read about the Houston Texans after being up 17 points against the Chiefs in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want to wreck a first round quarterback, just look back at what Bill Belichick did to Mac Jones. Not only the last 2 years, just this year, he benched him 4 times and trotted him out there.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. I've never seen anything like what he did to him this year. Never seen anything like it.
It's because you don't do that. You're going to wreck a quarterback by doing that. So
yeah.
Now you're Kraft. What do? Do you think he fundamentally thinks that the Patriots need to change and to get away from Bill? Or I guess the question I'm asking you, because I think I'm too in it, but from an outsider perspective, is there a chance that Bill can build this thing back up for the Patriots?
Not with his current. Okay, that's a good way to frame it. Because I think if you're Kraft, you got to look around the NFL. Because this is what I've been saying, since like beginning of the season. It's like there's this era of coaches right now that seems like they're kind of getting phased out of the game. And unless you're going to adapt and bring in, minds that will actually evolve your offensive mindset, evolve your game plan, you got to change it. You know what I mean? That's how I look at it. If you're Kraft, you got to talk to Bill, see if Bill is willing to open up and consider other aspects of football. If he's rigid, he's like, no, Bill Belichick, this is how I fucking talk. Then Yeah, you gotta change it. You have to.
So
Because
so to that,
this way is not going to win you a championship. You don't have the GOAT anymore. It's not gonna work. It's just not.
yeah, you have along that line of thinking, like if you're Crafton, do you think Belichick can change? Bill Belichick added someone to the 53-man roster last Thursday to help with special teams. And he put Malik Cunningham on the practice squad again, and he was just claimed by the Baltimore Ravens. The significance of that
Hey.
is now I don't know if Malik Cunningham is going to be anything. Who knows? But here's what I know. John Harbaugh is thinking about keeping 4 quarterbacks on his roster that all play similar to Lamar Jackson, just in case anything goes wrong. Bill has had 18 transactions this year of quarterbacks and has only had 2 on the active roster at once. He doesn't value quarterbacks. How do you change that? How do you change that line of thinking? Because, for him, he didn't value Tom. But again, in 2001, he had Tom there as the 4th quarterback on the roster. Where the fuck is that guy?
Not here, that's for sure. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's weird too because it's like, so I you think it's like the GOAT combo, that whole thing in his head, where he's just trying to prove that he can do it without a quarterback. Hell or high water, he's doing it without a franchise quarterback.
So the way that I think about it is, I don't think Bill is so concerned about doing it without Brady. I think Bill doesn't think that Brady was the reason that they won to begin with. That he just plucked him out of obscurity and put him in on a team that he could work with. And Bill, they had a number 1 overall pick the year before, right? 5-11 with Drew Bledsoe. Almost the exact same roster comes back the next year, and they go 11-5 and win the Super Bowl. So in Bill's mind, it's not, oh, we just got the right we got a quarterback. We just got the system. Like this guy can play within the system. I think he
Yeah.
believes that.
But that's
Which
why Brady
had-
went. That's why Brady went on and won a Super Bowl the year after he left, right? But
Yeah. Listen, I full-heartedly agree with that. It's fucking ridiculous. So then now having that little conversation, do you think Bill Belichick is open to changing the way he thinks about the game? And can he build back with the new Patriots? Or does he have to go somewhere else?
history tells me he's not. You know what I mean? From what I've seen and what I've experienced the past few years, he's definitely not. He's trying to take the old brands that worked and implement them into today, and that's not going to work. He tried to have that 2 tight end thing with Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith. Now he's trying to go all defense and have this run game, and it just didn't work. It fizzled out 3 years in a row. You know what I mean? And the Cam Newton experience, bad. The whole thing has just been bad. Granted, yes, they've stayed kind of relevant in that time, but it's like he keeps trying to trot out these same methods that are proven not to work in today's NFL. So unless he shows me something different, I don't think he can. Personally, I really
Right.
don't.
And also, like in the last 3 years, Belichick has spent 6 draft picks on special teamers. That one part of the game of football that the NFL is trying to basically make it irrelevant. I mean, you can't you can fair catch on any kick return now, and he's spending fucking draft equity on gunners and on special.
Yeah.
It's embarrassing.
It really is.
Which leads us to
And
this
kickers
Sunday,
and kickers that are just not even good.
which is odd because he typically hits on kickers. Like that's why I feel like things are off. The positions that he typically hits on, they're not there anymore. Bill always hits on running backs. It doesn't matter what round they're in. They don't have a backup for Ramondre besides Zeke. And I don't even know who the 3rd running back is. He hits on corners. Their corners are kind of getting torched. I mean,
Yeah.
Christian Gonzalez got hurt. But kicker, I mean, never mind. That's another rabbit hole. So after 2 straight games decided by officials, one way or the other, Kansas City and the Swifties come into town on Sunday. How bad of a beating do you think that they're going to lay down on the Patriots, or do you actually give the Patriots a chance in this game?
No, they don't have a chance. So let's get that. Let's get that out of the way. I mean, we'll see what the offense does. You know what I mean? I don't think the Patriots are going to be able to score on the Chiefs. I really don't. The Chiefs defense is really good, but we'll see what the offense does. It's possible this could be like a 13-0 game based off of what I've seen from the Chiefs lately. Their offense instills no confidence in me. So it's very possible it's a low scoring game. That's how the Patriots can win. They're not going to, but that's how they can possibly win.
It should be noted that 3 Patriots wins this year have come against the defenses of the New York Jets, the Buffalo Bills, and the Pittsburgh Steelers. So for some reason, they have a knack for beating teams with statistically good defenses. I agree with you. I don't think that this week is going to be one of those. I think that if there was ever a game that Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce were going to try and remind the rest of the league just exactly who the hell they are, it's this week. Like this is a chance for Andy Reid and the Chiefs to beat up on the team that constantly gave them nightmares for the 20 years prior. I think it's going to be a low scoring game by Kansas City metrics, but I think honestly, first team to 20 wins. And I don't think that Patriots are going to get to 20. I think we're going to see something like 30-17 in favor of the Chiefs. Does that feel right?
I think 17 is pretty generous, man.
For the Patriots?
Yeah, I think it's like 24 to
yeah, but what if
24 to 10 sounds.
What if it's 30-10 in the final 2 minutes and they just go and score a drive? Like
that's possible. Yeah, it's possible.
So I don't know, for those of you that are listening and not watching, you're not going to get this reference, but it looks like Bobby is dressed the next topic, which is our Boston Celtics, the 16-5 Boston Celtics.
Yeah,
coming off of a week where they were eliminated from the in-season tournament. They had a close game with the Knicks. I want to start with the in-season tournament, but also I want to paraphrase. I want to put context to it. So after the game, or before the Knicks game, Mazzulla was talking a little bit about what it meant to the team, and he said, "quote We're really fighting for that mindset and that identity that is that things can be important all the time. Yeah, we're pissed off that you don't get a chance to win it, but we have to fight for that mindset all the time." That sounds like a different Mazzulla than the Mazzulla from last year.
Yeah.
So, how do you think he's handled, being eliminated from the in-season tournament? And what does it say about the difference in his coaching from last year?
So I do think that he has a different mindset where last year seemed way more hands off. Where it seemed like he kind of didn't want to step on what Udoka had done, and he was trying to instill his game plan. And like it seemed like he's walking on eggshells a little bit. So it does seem like his mindset's a little different this year for sure. I personally think the coaching staff has a lot to do with it, where it's he's not looking over his shoulder. He's not sitting here wondering who has his back. And we've all been in situations where coworkers and things like that don't necessarily support you, or, have different motives, or, are trying to make themselves look good, whatever the case may be, where that definitely weighs on you and your performance. So I think having people that are there strictly to support him, and he knows that, has a night and day difference, because he can focus on being him and being the best coach possible, in my opinion. I think that's really what's happening.
How much of it, because I agree with that, how much of it do you think is also that last year, because he didn't have his guys around him, it was almost like paralysis by analysis, right? Like he thought about having to do too much, and then he didn't do anything.
For sure.
Now you have selected coaches that are there for their specific reasons. And I don't know what his coaching style is, but I don't know that it's X's and O's. I don't know that it isn't. It feels like it's more motivational, like just to make sure that you're there for your guys. You get your guys up. And he doesn't have to do things that are not in his style, like you said.
Well, yeah. And I think a big thing too is connecting with the players. Honestly, is like, I don't think Mazzulla is necessarily there to He's not like Udoka where he's gonna, breed these guys into men and be the guy that's gonna lead them and
Or
have
bang
this
your girlfriend.
connection. Well, yeah, fair. But have that connection with him. But I think that's what he relies on. Like I said, a guy like Sam Cassell to do, where like he has guys to fill the spots, but he can't do. Man.
So after being eliminated by the Pacers, the Celtics they going to beat the Knicks 133-123 in a game that we saw Jaylen Brown get ejected, and Derek White really took over. He scores 30 in a game where we absolutely did all of his points. So what were your takeaways from this game, knowing that one of our stars, one of our big three, was removed from the situation? Now you see some, I would say like lesser known person outside of Boston just kind of took over.
Yeah, Derek White is definitely making himself known as a top-notch player in the NBA. Maybe not top-notch, but like at least top 40, top 50 at least.
Yeah.
And that definitely wasn't the case before this. And it's great to see because, 2-3 years ago, we were calling for this guy's head. Ray kept telling us, be easy. Derek White's real, man. Just let him do his thing. He has, and he's been everything Ray's promised us, man. He's awesome. I've been seeing him getting love for all-star votes, which I think is really cool. If that actually comes to fruition, that'd be really cool for him because, he's 10 times better than the player than I thought he was. I don't know about you, but like I did not think that this was what Derek White was. In no imagination when we traded for him did I think this is the guy we were getting.
Yeah, I mean, you hit it on the head. Like Ray was telling us 2 years ago that this is a guy that one day could drop 30 for you and bail you out, and he does. Like I when we got him, I was thinking, okay, this is gonna be a good bench piece. Like he'll score like 12 points a night, something like that. But as a starter, he could be someone that you count on for 18 points a night. And if he's playing, 35 minutes, like that's huge for the team. What'd you think about the JB ejection?
Soft, super soft. I just like he
I
said.
find that when you say less words on a podcast, it makes for better content. So I appreciate your
Well,
your point.
I'm elaborating. Give me a second here. No, it was just super soft where it's like, even JB said it, if you're going to get ejected, at least let me get my money's worth, bro. Like it happens so fast. And like, it didn't feel like it warranted that quick of a, you know what I mean? I don't know, man. It definitely didn't feel like he needed to get ejected. Just hearing him, he's like, bro, like, if I'm gonna get ejected, let me do my thing. Let me go off at least. Let me throw some punches or something, man. Like, it was bad.
So
It was bad.
also, the game saw the return of Kristaps Porzingis. How happy were you about his night back? He put up, he put 21. He was light on the boards, but he played 30 minutes. So I think if you're looking at someone who's been gone for, well, he was out for what, a week and a half?
Week and a half? Yeah, week and a half or so. Yeah.
It didn't feel like there were any lingering effects from the injury. But again, what was your take on that?
He's got to be healthy. He did look good, especially for his first game back, 100%. But this team is not a championship team without Borzingas. There's
Right.
just no beating around the bush here. Like without him, this team's not winning the championship. So the goal for him is to be healthy. So, I wouldn't push him too hard at this point. Let him get healthy. Let us get in a groove again. In my opinion, I think they should cap the minutes moving forward a little bit because he's so vital to this team, man. There's no, it's like when we had Williams, even when we lost him, the drop off wasn't huge because he wasn't really pivotal or vital to like what we do on the offensive side.
Are you sure it wasn't huge? Like it was a game. He was a game setter, a tone setter when he was on the floor.
Agreed, but only on defense. And I felt like we could kind of cover that up a little bit with certain schemes and certain things we could do. Bro, without Porzingis on the offensive side, it's a completely different team. We fall right back into who we used to be. he needs to be there for the team as it's constituted to flow in any way whatsoever. So like he's so vital to this team moving forward. So you got to make sure he's healthy. He looked good though. He looked good. Keep him healthy.
So, given that the goal, right, is to win in June, and he's never played in June, how you talking about capping his minutes and managing his time? What is your goal for allowing? How many games do you want to see out of him in the regular season? And if you need to push him to secure a 1 seed, do you do it?
Yeah. So I mean, to an extent, right? I'd say 60-ish
Yeah,
is where
feels
you
right.
want him. Yeah, it is where you want him. I think that's the good middle ground there. Yeah, and yes, I would. I think that 1 seat's super important. Um, going against teams like Milwaukee or going against teams like Miami.
Oh,
I mean, I know, gross. I know, it didn't necessarily help last year, technically, but you want to have home court in those series. You know what I mean? You just do.
yep.
So yeah, if you can get the 1 seed, you push for it for sure. But anything beyond that, I wouldn't. You know what I mean? I don't think you fight for 2, 3 seed, anything like that. 1 seed's a whole different story, but um, he's just so important, man. He's so like there's nothing you can do to fill that gap if he's gone. There's nothing. Your team's just done.
Beyond the points with him offensively, is it the spacing that you think makes him
Yeah.
so important?
Yes. It's the spacing, and it gives us an opportunity to reset everything with him on the floor, because that's always the biggest thing to me with the Celtics is like they get really stale and they have no ability to reset that, where it's like they just keep going back to it and they keep driving into lanes that aren't there and they keep, doing this shit over and over and over again. When you have a dude like Porzingis, man, it breaks all that up because, in between those ISOs is a dump into the post where all of a sudden all 5 eyes on the court, if you're on defense, have to have an eye on Kristaps Porzingis, which
Right.
lets other motion happen, it just opens up so much more when it comes to the staleness of the offense. So when you take that away, it just lets all those bad habits creep back in. This is why, like, within minutes of seeing this team, within game, maybe not minutes, that's pretty quick, but within games of seeing Porzingis, I was like, bro, this is what these guys needed. And it's like, yes, they can get redundant. They really can. We know they can. They get stale. We know that happens. When you add in a guy like that, it's not even like he's just a dominant big man guy, because he can beat guys down low, but he can
Yep.
also pop out and hit a jumper. So that's why it's like he's so pivotal to have guys that when you're passing the ball, everyone's got to look at him. And if you take your eyes off Jason Tatum for a fucking second, that's a problem for you. You know what I mean? That's a problem. So it just adds so much more to this team.
So, is there anyone out there, obviously not to the extent that KP can do it, but that you would try and add to the bench in case something happens to Porzingis, or for the games that we know that he's not going to be able to play all of them? Are there any other bench pieces that, in terms of big men or floor spacers out there that you want to see the Celtics go after this year?
I mean, no one that's actually attainable, I don't think. Like, that would actually make a difference. I think the biggest piece that you gotta make a move for is a backup guard.
Really?
I know I'm a Pritchard truther. All right, listen, I know.
It's your rookie of the year right there.
He doesn't get it done for me anymore.
Why?
He's just so hot and cold. When he's good, he's amazing. He's amazing. But he can be so absent on the defensive side of the ball sometimes. And
He's like a pale Eddie House. Yeah, I mean,
that's
sure
such a
any
good
better
comparison
defense.
when you watch him. It's a very good comparison, actually. But yeah, I just think you need more. You need someone who can actually stop someone in a playoff series down the stretch. If White's in foul trouble, if Drew's in foul trouble, Drew's a little banged up, White's a little. You need someone else who you can go out there and they're not just going to attack. Because Jimmy Butler getting switched on the fucking Peyton Pritchard with 5 minutes left in the game 7 of the goddamn Eastern Conference Finals is not something I want to experience, man. It's just not. So, like, I would get someone who could make another stop for you, personally.
Sounds like you have someone in mind.
Honestly don't. I don't. I mean, I wish I did. It'd be better content if I did. Let me find someone. We'll edit this out.
Please, but while you're looking, can you please keep playing with your microphone? It just sounds great.
I'm sorry, bro. Oh, let's see.
I don't know if we're gonna edit this out. This makes for great content.
I mean, it's not bad.
But you're like gun to head right now. You would, if you had to make an addition to the bench, it would be guard and not big.
Yeah, I like I can't think of his name right.
That means you think Al's gonna hold up.
I do, man, and I just think when you have a guy like Porzingis, it lets Al be who Al is. And you see it where, like, he doesn't have to, put that extra effort on offense. He can save his knees for those big time clutch rebounds that we need him to get. He can save his knees for all that stuff. So it's like, I think Porzingis adds so much more to what Al can bring to this team, man. And
yeah,
that's why that's why, like, it keeps coming back. That's why he's so important, because, like, exactly like that. Because without Porzingis, Al has to do more. And when Al has to do more, it takes away from all the good things that Al can do. That's why when Rob was out there, he was so big, because Al could be Al Horford on defense and stop and beat and, like, do all that shit. If Porzingis is healthy, yes, Horford will hold it.
Sure. The thought would be is that you get some of the bench to supplement in case Porzingis isn't healthy, and then you don't have to trot out a 37-year-old Al Horford for 40 minutes tonight, right? But even knowing that, you still think guard is is the addition to make.
So I got a couple of names for you. So if it's big, I've heard Blake Griffin. I don't know if that's something that, other people would like. I know Ray's mentioned Blake Griffin a few times, and that obviously comes without a cost whatsoever. I think he'd be a good addition. We saw what he can do, in spot minutes here and there last year. So if he's open to having that role again, which I think he would be, he's not playing for anyone. So
Right.
I think he'd be a good addition. The guard, though, if you can somehow work out a way, I don't know what it would take, man. If you can get a guy like Alex Caruso on this fucking roster, this team would be unstoppable. Unstoppable. That's the exact kind of guy I want. An Alex Caruso, where it's like, yes, he still brings just as much upside as what Peyton Pritchard brings offensively. Maybe even more. But so much more defensive upside. And you can put him on any guard in the NBA and he can stop him. That's the kind of guy I think that would take this team from, like, favorite to a runaway favorite to win the championship.
I just can't believe how far Peyton has fallen in your mind, in your eyes. Like, it doesn't make sense. You were all about him, and I would say offensively he's only gotten better, and defensively he's the same.
I just don't think he does what this team needs. I'm just looking. Listen, I love Pritchard. And I hope he has a great career. I always get him in 2K. Like, he's still one of the first trades I make every time, no matter which team I get. Starting point guard, 6-man. Yeah, I love Pritchard. I just think we need something different. I don't think like I said, I'm not thinking regular season. I'm thinking when I get into the playoffs and the grind of game 5 against the fucking Bucks, where we're sitting here, our blood pressure's been 108. Or been 150, whatever the fuck high blood pressure is nowadays.
Not 108.
Yeah, it's definitely not 108. It's like I think it's like over 130 is high-ish. So like I said, blood pressure's been like 150 for 2.5 weeks. And all of a sudden, fucking Jimmy Butler or Dame Lillard is getting switched on to Peyton Pritchard. And Peyton Pritchard has to go one-on-one with him. That's not what I'm looking for, man. It's not. And, like, I'm nervous about it. I'm just nervous about it, because I can just see it going bad. I can see the text flowing in. Why the fuck do they keep switching on Pricker? Can someone please fix this? Can we please fix this goddamn switch over and over and over and over? I can just see it. So just trying to be proactive and take care of that.
Yeah. No, I hear you. So the Celtics have 5 games in the next 6 days. Or sorry, in the next 7 days. 2 against Cleveland tonight, obviously Thursday. 2 against Orlando Friday and Sunday. And then they get the Warriors. So they go to Golden State next Tuesday. How do they shake out of these next 5 games? What are you looking for here?
Are they losing to Cleveland right now? Are they winning?
Well, this is no longer evergreen, but yeah, as of right now, it's at halftime. It's 60-59, Cleveland. Now they were down 22-4 in this game, and they came all the way back to bring it.
I just think it goes to show how they were reacting to get knocked out of the in-season tournament, where it's like they definitely were a little shell-shocked. But if this is the team, you know what I mean? Seeing them rebound like that, I don't see any reason why they should have like any lingering effects from getting knocked out or, having that letdown. So I don't see any reason why they would stop doing what they're doing, especially with Porzingis back. I'd say what? I'm gonna give it 6-1, 5-1 over that stretch. But losing to the Warriors. Yeah, so 4-1. I could see losing to the Warriors. At the end of it, because that's a tough. I mean, that's tough at the end of that stretch. But
I mean, the Warriors this year, so they're 10-12, right? And last year they didn't lose at home and they couldn't win on the road. They're not great at home this year, and they're obviously not great on the road. So out of all the teams, why do you think that it's going to be the Warriors and let's just say like not the Magic that they have twice?
The Magic are always a thorn on our side.
Always. It's always Cleveland. And it's always the Magic. Always. Every season. Doesn't matter.
I understand why it was the Magic before they were like, because the Magic are actually halfway decent this year. They're not bad. But even before that,
they're like 3rd in the league. They're 16-7.
Yeah. Banchero, man. Banchero's the truth. That guy is something. And Franz.
Hold on. That's blasphemous.
I love Franz. Franz Wagner is awesome. Well, he's not the truth. Yeah, you're right. My bad. That is blasphemy. But no, at the end of that stretch, man. So if they can get through that Magic stretch, right? They're both at home. So that's one of those weird things where you get a home and home with them for some reason.
2 straight home and homes.
Yeah, it's really weird. I've never seen that before where they just go bad. They're like, yeah, but we'll keep them there. Keep them there.
4 home games against 2 teams. No big deal.
Yeah, it's fine. But then to go out to Golden State after that, I just think it's going to be tough for them to get up. That's why it's that game that stands out to me, where it's like I've seen the Celtics do this. They're going to be home. They're going to take care of business, in my opinion. I don't think they'll have that letdown against the Magic. I don't. We'll see. But I don't, because Magic are actually good this year, so I think they'll step up for those games. But going out to the West Coast after that, I think it's going to be tough for them. And
yeah, I mean, for the 4-game homestand, dude, then they go at Golden State, at Sacramento, and then obviously on the 23rd, it's against the Clippers. But fuck James Harden. So like I'm not worried about that. I'm not worried about that at all.
Christmas Day, Lakers. So
that'll be fun.
That'll be fun. Okay.
Fun. All right, so you think 4-1, 3-2 at worst case?
Yeah, worst case 3-2. Worst case 3-2. And I don't see any reason why Joe Mazzulla shouldn't be starting the All-Star game this year, or shouldn't be coaching the All-Star game with the best record in the league. I really feel like this team.
Well, I mean, Timberwolves have a better record than us as
best record in the East. Best record in the East.
You're right.
Because as long as this continues, man, I mean, we even saw it without Porzingis. They were okay. In regular season, I think they can survive. And they keep this up, we're gonna be doing a lot of these podcasts, I feel like, in June and July.
Hope so. Before we go, now this isn't a direct correlation between what I'm about to say and the Red Sox, but it's a fucking direct correlation. Big news in the last day or two. Shohei Ohtani signs a 10-year, $700 million contract with the LA Dodgers. Interesting part about this deal, Bobby, is that he is deferring $680 million of the contract.
It's so crazy, bro.
Why the fuck weren't the Red Sox in on him? Why? Because Shohei, according to all the beat writers, Shohei offered every team the same ability to defer so that they could still build around him. So what does it say about how far they fall? The Red Sox, like, they used to be in on these guys.
Yeah.
Why weren't they in on Shohei?
It's so different now, man. And even like seeing the Yankees make the trade for Soto, and like that used to be stuff that the Red Sox would react to with some kind of move or something, man. Something.
Well, we did this
Just
year.
not-
We then traded them Verdugo.
Yeah, we gave right. And we signed Tyler O'Neill was our comeback signing for Ohtani. Yeah, man, it's sad. It really is, because you're right. When it comes to a guy like that, like the Red Sox used to at least be one of the guys that you'd hear about later. Like, whoa, the Red Sox came up a bit short on this one. They offered $680 million and not the full $700 million, or they didn't want to go the one. Bro, we're out. We're like, the Red Sox could be interested. Next day, Red Sox no longer interested in Ohtani, will not be in on the bidding. And you're like, what the fuck just happened?
Like, I could understand they were like, this is going to be all guaranteed, like, every year, because baseball contracts are guaranteed. But if he walks up to you and says, listen, I'm going to defer 97% of this contract until after it runs out. Why the fuck wouldn't you do? This isn't just your run of the mill guy. This is a generational, once in a generation talent. A guy that can give you 13 wins a season and hit 50 bombs in a season. Like, he is Babe Ruth. And they backed away from him.
It's Henry,
What the
man.
fuck?
When it comes down to it, it's John Henry. You know what I mean? That's because it's not like there's a salary cap. Like, there's literally no other explanation except that he doesn't want to spend the money to be a winner anymore. He wants to find a different way to win. And, he's always been like that Moneyball kind of guy. Like, he's always had that mindset. But, like, I just think lately, it's just, I feel like he's at a point where he wants to put the most cost-effective, manageable team possible. You know what I mean? He's not trying to build a contender anymore. He's trying to put a product on the field that is good enough that people will still show up, in my opinion. Because to be out that early is unacceptable. To be this big market and be the first, bro, we were the first fucking team out.
Can you imagine? Like, it would be pretty hard to try and sell a team, though, if you had $680 million of a deferred contract. Like,
that's fair. Almost $750 million just hanging out on the payroll.
Do you think that there should be a salary cap in baseball?
Yeah, I do. I've always thought there should be, because it's just absurd, man. Because it's like a team like the Dodgers, man, that shouldn't be fucking allowed. You shouldn't be that shouldn't be allowed. Like, you're literally playing a video game. You know what I mean? Like, they're sitting there with the salary, like when you turn salary cap off, you're trying to get that big free agent. You just sit there with the right stick and you just hold it there until it stops. And you're like, all right, guess that's what I'm offering you. That's what the Dodgers did.
Right.
So, like,
for his time playing in LA, they pay him $20 million total for 10 years.
It's actually that's really smart too, because wherever he moves, when he gets that money, it'll be taxed as part of the income of wherever he lives. So, like, it won't be California state tax. So it's really smart too. Is that not true?
It's not true, because the Dodgers will have to pay him, and the Dodgers are based in LA, so that's where you work.
That's fair.
Like, if you live in
not where you receive your paychecks.
Like, if you live in New Hampshire but you worked in Boston, you pay mass income tax, state tax, and you also pay New Hampshire state tax.
That's fair.
Doesn't have anybody.
It happened to you, didn't it?
But no, I never worked in New Hampshire. If I'm gonna go all in, I'm gonna go all in. I'm gonna take all of Massachusetts.
Take that 6.25 right up the ass.
Yeah, love it.
Yeah. What were we talking about? Ohtani, that's right. Yeah, man, it's great. Yeah, you shouldn't be able to have the 2 generational talents on your team and not have grown either of them. You know what I mean? Like, that's just mind-blowing to me, is, like, they have these 2 guys now that are literally generational talents that, like, you don't see come along, right? You watch them play baseball, and you're like, "Oh, that guy's fucking special." And they just paid over, like, $100 million more than anyone else could offer to get both of them. And it's just shouldn't be allowed. So, yes,
in 10
baseball
years.
100% should have a salary.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, BK, great to do the show with you. Love having you on it. MTP
Always.
Boston. Stay tuned for the power ranking show about to drop later this week. I'm sure we'll be surprised with the Cowboys live. But for now, for MTP Boston, I'm Mike Margangelo for the Real BK, Bob Kelly. We'll talk to you in a little while.
Are you a fan of classic cinema or a young person who wants to discover the best films of all time? Do these legendary movies still hold up?
On the Generation Film podcast, 2 guys who grew up when movies dominated the culture share a great film with a panel of young movie lovers and see how it plays for today's generation.
We discuss changes in storytelling styles, representation,
The making of each film, its initial reception, and how its meaning has changed over the years.
Join us as we explore cinema classics across generations on Generation Film.
Electricast.
Are you passionate about saving the planet for future generations? Do you want to learn how to do it? If yes, then you need to tune in to the Nature Backed podcast. It's a talk show covering the changing world around us, from renewable energy, sustainable agriculture, circular economy, to ESG and social innovation. Don't miss this opportunity to discover how you can join the movement and make a difference. Subscribe to the Nature Backed podcast today on your favorite platform and get ready to be amazed.
Electricast.